so today is the hottest day of the year so far, and we are going to take the motor out of the FRS again. But this time, we're actually going to film it and try to put a video together telling you guys how to do it, or at least how we do it, because I don't think there's anything out there like that right now. So if anything, maybe we'll help somebody out, or maybe teach somebody something they don't know. And with me, as always, is my husband and crew chief, Anthony Filio. So I know some of you guys might not know who he is, so Anthony, why don't you kind of tell everybody what all you do?
I'm Michelle's husband and crew chief, so I helped Michelle build the car. We maintenance it, we go to the races, it's just me and her, so pretty much know this car, top to bottom, front to back, so I will be
the lead
on the engine pull for something cool that's coming that we're not telling you about yet.
Yeah, so as you all know, we have our Edelbrock Supercharger on our FA20. As some of you might not know, our FA20 is fully stock. There's nothing upgraded internally on this motor, and we've been racing with it like this for almost 2 years. And so we have some really cool things in the works, but right now, today, what are we doing?
We're going to take this motor out, and because this one actually has an oil leak, it's got some overheating issues, it's got a few issues that need to be sorted out.
Issues from being a badass race motor for the last 2 years.
It's hanging in there pretty good, but it needs to come out. We got to clean up the engine bay, and I just want to get this thing ready for the...
If you want to look more into the car, check out my videos and my website and my Instagram and all that. But anyways, that's what we're doing today, so I hope you guys enjoy, and thanks for watching. And what's first?
So this is obviously a motor pull with the Edelbrock EForce Supercharger. So it's going to differ a little bit from, just the stock OEM FA20. But first we're going to yank the hood off. And
our Seabond carbon hood, dry carbon.
Yeah, get the hood off, get the card up on jacks, and then drain all the fluids out of the motor, including the oil and the water. And then also we have to drain the water out of the supercharger. And so we're gonna take the front end off the car. We gotta do a few things to get this thing ready. So right now, hood and front bumper.
Hood and front bumper. That's it. Ready, set, go. Why is it so blue?
Engine ice.
Alright, so we have drained the oil out of the engine, the water out of the engine, and the water out of the supercharger. And that's about it so far. So next we're going to start taking off, what?
Now we're going to get the air box off, disconnect all the mass airflow sensors, all that good stuff. Get the oil catch cans, the Michele oil catch cans out of the car here. Get those out, and then we will be disconnecting the water lines for the supercharger off the back. You can actually just leave those in the car. So let's disconnect them, and then we have to disconnect some fuel lines.
And basically we have to take the supercharger off first, so in case we didn't mention that, that's the ultimate goal right now, is get the supercharger off, so then after that we can take the motor out.
Yes. So we'll get the air box, all that off, water lines, we will leave the oil coolers, and we'll just get the supercharger out.
Oil coolers?
Oil catch cans. Oil catch cans.
Oil catch cans.
Alright, so Michelle is getting our ace header off of the car. And I'm going to finish removing the Michele oil catch cans from the car. We do run one on the passenger and driver's side, so we'll get those out. Like I said, I'm gonna get these water lines for the supercharger disconnected, and then we'll be taking off the direct injection ECU nameless performance bracket, so we can get the supercharger taken off. I'll also be taking off the belt right now as well. So, just get those few steps and then we'll get the supercharger off. You guys are gonna need some super rad NC-spec Z87 1 Plus safety glasses. Hit up our guys at Keywave Visual. These things are badass. It's called laser faces.
Michelle's on the phone with our teammate.
Alright, so we got the supercharger belt off, we got our oil catch cans off, Michele got the ace header off, so that's all here. Highly recommend these Michele oil catch cans for your supercharged application, or even just your daily driver, man. Might as well catch all that stuff instead of blowing it through. Our ace header, our Gates rib belt that we run, the airbox, and all that good stuff is off. Alright, so next, what we need to do is actually take the direct injection ECU out. So for that, we will just disconnect our nameless performance direct injection ECU bracket. This is lightweight compared to the OEM. It also looks super clean, and yeah, it's actually a big weight saving. So definitely go look at nameless performance. Get one of these bad boys for you. So to get this out, we've got these plugs on the back here. There's 4? Yeah, 4 plugs for the direct injection ECU. Just unhook those. We got 10 mil here, 10 mil here, and there's one more down there. And that will get this off. Or you can just disconnect these. Do this 12 millimeter bolt. There's another 12 millimeter bolt down there. And pull it as one unit. That's what I'm gonna do. And then, once that is out, we have to pull the fuel rails and injectors out of both sides and unbolt the supercharger and pull it out. We will also have to just pull this evap line, the boost gauge reading line here, and then this bad boy will be ready to come out. So just a few more steps and the supercharger will be out of the car. Alright, so I got the two 12 millimeter bolts off the top of the DI ECU harness. I forgot, you do have to take this 10 millimeter bolt off the bottom down there either way because it bolts into the motor. So that one needs to come out with those two 12s and then they'll come out as one unit. Got the DI ECU and bracket out. Michele is coming back. She had to do a phone meeting. Beers. Got some waters. Okay. Next we're going to be taking out the fuel rails and injectors. To do this, you got to be careful because there is still fuel in the system and you don't want to get in your eyes. It's going to make a mess either way. So we're going to use our Schrader valve that we have to have for the SCCA and drain as much fuel as we can out of here, and then we will disconnect. You know, actually, I'm gonna leave that in. And you got to disconnect this fuel line here, which carries from the driver's side to the passenger side. You got to unbolt the fuel rail, and it's gonna leak, but it is what it is. So go ahead and pull out both fuel rails and injectors. Be careful that you don't mess up the injector seals.
And if you do, you have to buy new ones.
Yeah.
so you can't reuse them. And if you're using different injectors, obviously you can't use OEM seals, but I'll put that in my other video about my Edelbrock Supercharger.
So let's get that fuel system disconnected, and I think that's the last step before unbolting it and getting it out of the car.
We just took off the fuel rails and took out the fuel injectors, and next we are going to remove the intake manifold. So this whole unit will come up and off, as well as the supercharger, because it's connected to it, but nothing right now is holding the manifold to the motor except for the bolts that we're about to take out, and it will just actually lift off straight up, and we'll be able to pick it up and set it on the bench, and we'll be done with that step.
Supercharger is off. Now, what we need to do is cover these. It goes up though, so no nuts and bolts fall down there. And we're gonna go ahead and get the clutch disconnected from the motor. Get our oil lines from our Michele oil cooler sandwich plate assembly disconnected. Then here's the main ECU plugs for the car. Super awesome. You pretty much, actually I'll just do it right now. You undo this, I can't do it in one hand. There it goes. You undo this big boy here. There we go. Boom. 2 hands, magic. I'm holding it with my mouth. There's 3 clips. 1, 2. Boom. The car is separated from the engine. Awesome. Oh, sorry. And these 2. And those 2. So, those 5 plugs, and you're disconnected. So, we're gonna go ahead and get everything off, disconnected from the motor here. And then we actually gotta run to Michelle's parents and get the picker to hoist this bad boy out of here. When we come back, we'll actually jack up the transmission a little bit. We stick a block of wood underneath it to help keep it propped up. Disconnect the bolts from the transmission to the motor, and then out it comes. So, got a little while left, but not bad. Got to get all our gauge wires unhooked from the motor, set them up here. So yeah, after you get your supercharger off, it's just a matter of getting anything connected to the motor off the motor, which isn't very much. It's these 5 plugs, a ground, and then the clutch, and then anything that you have added as far as gauges and wires and sensors and stuff. So, almost there. We gotta go get the engine hoist from her parents' house, and we will show you guys how we get this thing up and out of here.
Did you tell them about the grounds on the bottom?
Oh, yeah, and don't forget there are some ground wires connecting the engine to the chassis here. Don't forget to disconnect those. There's one on each side. Otherwise you'll be pulling and prying, trying to get it out, and it's strapped in. So those, the transmission, and then there's the engine mounts too, which we'll disconnect.
Say what?
We ate dinner.
We ate dinner. And now we are going to hook up the cherry picker and take the motor out of the car.
Yeah, so to do that you got 2 motor mounts underneath, and then 8 bolts. We got the cherry picker hooked up to the motor. We did have to make this custom bolt. Weld it so we can thread it in there. Now we're gonna jack up the transmission and we stick a 2x4 underneath it. Right on top. Oh, I gotta take that off first. Right on the subframe. That way it helps hold the transmission at an angle like this, slightly. So we start pulling the motor, it just like whoop, comes right off. So we're gonna get the tranny jacked up, 2x4 underneath it, start unbolting the transmission bolts with this holding some weight up, and it should just start to kind of slide on off. When we set the 2x4, it's pretty much right on top of the sway bar, between the sway bar and the transmission. Helps hold it at a pretty good angle that we found to help get the motor out pretty easy. So that's there. And then we got this just snug, little tension. This thing keeps stopping recording. Hopefully it's saving what it's recording before it freezes. So now we're gonna start unbolting the transmission from the motor. And then I'll start recording when you're actually gonna pull it out. Alright, and there you have it. Ta-da! The FA20 is out. Just took a little wiggling once you get it up. If you have one of these cranks, make sure you put the handle at the front of the motor. That way you can lift the front end up to match the angle on the transmission so it slides off. You probably saw us having a little issue with that, so I had to pick it up with my hand.
Shout out, shameless plug, ACT, Basic Bench Clutch Technology for always getting our power to the ground.
That is our 6-puck unsprung, badass clutch.
Boom, chocolate bar. And flywheel.
Lightning flywheel. So here it is, it's out. I can't turn my video around. The camera we're using died. So there it is. Clean, well not clean, open engine bay. We're going to clean it and get ready for some really cool stuff coming soon to the Gert Racing 8.6 program. If you guys have any questions about what we did today, getting the motor on, I know we just kind of hit things here and there.
Comment below.
Comment below if you have more detailed questions. Hit her up on Instagram, Facebook, anything, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions if you're pulling out your motor.
I've done it a couple times.
Yeah. So like I said though, it's not an hour job. Don't be fooled by any other videos online. It'll take a few hours, especially if it's your first time. I mean, we took a break, we had lunch, or dinner I mean. Picked up the cherry picker and all the stuff. What time is it?
6:30.
6:30. We started this at 3 o'clock. But that's with taking probably
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
But we stopped for dinner at like 4, and it took about an hour and a half. So I don't know. What would you say, like 3-hour job?
Took us 3 hours, yeah, and that's
But
what.
we've done it like.
And that's with getting supercharger off too.
Yeah, we've done it a few times.
So, but that's it.
Thanks for watching. Hit me up if you have any questions. Stay tuned for what's next. And also, if you want to know more about the Edelbrock Supercharger, be sure you check out my video highlighting everything that I can or was asked about before I did that video. That's it.
Cool. Later.